Last week I went to the premiere of EPiC, Elvis Presley in concert in IMAX, and I have not been able to stop thinking about it since. I stayed for the Q&A with director Baz Luhrmann afterwards, and quickly, hi, my name is Cassidy Krieger from Hollywoodland Photos, and if you know me, you know that seeing Baz Luhrmann in the flesh is a very, very, very big deal. Baz Luhrmann is my favorite director. Moulin Rouge shaped my love of cinema. I saw it as a kid and it started my love story with movies, acting, everything. I honestly would not be here doing what I do now, but on this planet without Moulin Rouge. It saved me time and time again. So sitting in the IMAX theater watching Baz bring Elvis Presley back onto that big screen felt strangely full circle. But what stayed with me wasn't just the personal aspect of Baz Luhrmann. It wasn't the scale of what I watched. It was Elvis Presley, of course. So before I talk more about how I actually felt, let's talk about, and I think it's really important to talk about what this film actually is, because EPiC isn't a biopic, it isn't a traditional documentary, and it's not just a stitched together concert film. So originally Baz Luhrmann went searching for unseen Elvis footage to potentially use in his 2022 biopic Elvis, which I can't believe it's been 4 years this year since that came out, but I'm being sidetracked by time passing. What he and his team discovered was extraordinary. 68 boxes of 35mm and 8mm footage had been sitting in Warner Brothers archives, stored underground in salt mines in Kansas, preserved in darkness for decades. Inside those boxes were outtakes from Elvis, that's the way it is, and Elvis on tour, but there was a catch. There was no sound, and you can't have Elvis with no sound. So, over the next 2 years, Baz and his team painstakingly restored it. They cleaned it and synced it to existing audio, rebuilt it frame by frame. They also uncovered a 45-minute audio recording of Elvis talking about his life story, candidly and in his own voice. And all of that material forms the foundation of EPiC. Baz has described this project as something new in the Elvis canon, not a full documentary, not a full concert film, but something that matches the magnitude of Elvis, the performer, while revealing the deeper layers of his humanity. Elvis, the man. What struck me when I watched this wasn't the electricity of his performances. I've seen Elvis concerts, obviously, on film before. I knew Elvis is incredible on stage. It was how hard Elvis's life must have been. The lack of privacy, constantly having people throwing themselves at his feet, the relentless pressure of being one of the most famous people on earth before modern celebrity infrastructure even existed. He wanted to travel the world. He couldn't. He wanted to make better films. He was pigeonholed into formula roles. He wanted creative expansion, but so much of his career and life was tightly controlled by his manager, Colonel Parker. He even wanted to come here, to Australia. How awesome would that have been? Not that I would have seen him, but still would have been awesome. And watching him command that stage, knowing how geographically confined his life actually was, adds a layer to this quiet tragedy. He's completely in control in those performances. He commands that stage. He owns that stage. It's electric. But you can also see the responsibility that's weighing on his shoulders. This godlike icon suddenly becomes human right in front of your eyes. Watching it in IMAX was overwhelming in the best way possible, in the most Baz Luhrmann way possible that overwhelming is. Elvis was there. You could see the sweat on his face, the marks on his skin, on his neck, the way he leans into the microphone like he knows exactly what he's doing to his audience, how he's commanding them and telling them how to feel, and they feel it. Because when the song Burning Love started, my favorite Elvis song, I nearly screamed like the women in the footage, and I'm not exaggerating. I felt that rush, that spark. I caught myself smiling, properly smiling. I genuinely felt myself falling in love at a man on a cinema screen that died, 20, 30 years before I was born? And in that moment, I understood fully. I understood why people become obsessed with Elvis. It wasn't hysteria. It wasn't shallow. It was magnetism at a scale that we don't see anymore. And there's a reason why people fainted. I too would have fainted. On that screen, he isn't a myth. He's a presence. And that presence fills the room and then some. From a filmmaking perspective, what Baz is doing here is deeply intentional. Over time, culture shrinks icons. They become costumes, impressions, sound bites. But Elvis was never small. By placing this restored footage in IMAX, by letting it breathe at that full scale, Baz gives Elvis back his magnitude. And that matters, because Elvis never toured the world like he wanted to. His impact was global, but his physical presence was limited to America. This film, he travels like he couldn't in life. He reaches new generations. He stands at the size he was meant to be seen. And at a time where art gets compressed into phone screens and clipped into fragments, seeing Elvis at full scale feels really powerful. And I think Baz Luhrmann deserves all the flowers in the world for it. It was something really surreal for me on a personal level watching this unfold, directed by the filmmaker who shaped my love for cinema. Moulin Rouge made me understand that film could be operatic, emotional, excessive, and larger than life. And sitting in that IMAX theatre, I realized Baz is still doing the same thing. He takes artists that are already enormous and reminds us they are even bigger than we ever imagined. For a few hours, Elvis wasn't a relic. He wasn't a costume. He wasn't an impersonation. He was alive, magnetic, and unavoidable. And again, that night reminded me why I love movies and why I love being in a cinema. Because cinema can restore scale and it can preserve feeling. So whether you're a diehard Elvis fan or just curious, put this on your watch list and you must watch it in the cinema, IMAX if you can. Let the song sweep you up, let yourself feel it. You will leave understanding Elvis more deeply, respecting the artist that he was, but also the man that he was. And on a really personal note, Baz Luhrmann, you've done it again. I don't think I'll ever forget turning to my mum, who was my date for the evening. The same woman who took me to see Moulin Rouge all those years ago and set me on a path of artistic love and film love. I turned to my mum with tears in my eyes. I literally could not stop crying, looking at Baz Luhrmann so close to me. And I mouthed to Mum, "Oh my God, it's Baz Luhrmann." Crying again. Sometimes dreams really do come true. And if you enjoyed this video, I always forget that I have to tell people to subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, do you want to subscribe to my channel, please, so I can keep making more of them and feel inspired to make more? Because I really love cinema, I really love the movies, and I really love story, and I hope that you do too. Thanks for watching.